And welcome to Just for Clicks, guys. I am Michael Buckcaster here with my man Mike LeBlanc. Mike, how is your?
You pronounced my last name right for a change. Look at that.
Hey, all you have to do is tell me one time, and I'm like an elephant. I never forget. Just like how you said that Joe Burrow is going to be the best quarterback in the league, and I will never let that go because that's a false statement, and we know that.
We shall see. I'm waiting for Jameson. Waiting for Jameson to pop up here. I know as soon as we get started, he starts with his comments.
Yeah, Jameson is our Facebook guy there, posts a lot of stuff. I was on there actively today because he posted some stuff late last week, I think it was, how like the Bears and the Packers had the most wins in the NFL, yada, yada, yada. Well, they've also been playing for 100 years versus the Houston Texans that have been playing since 2002. So I revised some of those numbers. I posted all the numbers from 22 wins loss since 22 per team out there. And guess who has the most wins since 2002?
Who?
The New England Patriots.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, they have
more than 25 wins more than anybody in the NFL, which to me.
But all time, who's number one?
All time, I'd have to go back to the Facebook page and check it out. Jameson posted that actually, and I want to say it was the Bears.
I showed you today.
Oh, that was playoffs wins,
including that's including playoff wins.
Oh, including
playoff wins.
Have
the number one winning percentage, including playoffs.
Winning percentage, but how many wins is that?
Doesn't matter. We have
it does matter.
Winning percentage.
Because you can have a great winning percentage if you play four games. If you play 400 games, that winning percentage is going to be down a little bit. So
Cowboys have been here for a while.
You are right, but I'm just making a statement. I can play 4 games and win 3 out of 4. I have a 750 winning percentage. You can play 100 games and win 50 of them and have a 500 winning percentage. But my winning percentage is better than yours because I won 3.
America's team.
Speaking of America, the home of the brave and the home of handguns, guess who had a gun pointed to his head earlier last week?
Oh, Mr. Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas's wife held a gun to his head and his brother's head earlier this week. She was ultimately arrested, but to get some context to this story.
I mean, his wife caught him in bed with him and his brother and a wife, and not his wife, but another girl.
So Earl Thomas and his brother was tag teaming a girl, not Earl Thomas's wife. Earl Thomas's wife found out and said, "Not today, Billy Bob." Held that gun up, and she was ready to lock and load. If you guys are on the old Twitter machines, Earl Thomas posted a tweet, said, "I don't want to answer any questions about about my wife or the situation.
Please respect my privacy."
Please respect my privacy is what he said. Mark Ingram replied to this, "Bro, ... no questions. How about your wife catching you and your brother banging the same chick? Then a gun was involved? Nah, mother. We got questions." Like, I mean, when your own teammates are calling you out saying, "No, bro, we got questions." First of all, I mean, like, I'm down to clown. A guy enjoys some festivities in my life, 3-way gangbangs, whatever, but he's married. I mean, at least gangbang your wife, right?
Yeah.
I mean, shoot.
With your brother, would you want to gangbang your wife with your brother?
Yeah, I guess I would rather have my brother than some stranger, right?
I guess.
I mean, at least I know what he's working with, right? Since we're brothers. If you catch my drift there.
I guess. Yeah. But I mean, his wife's got to kind of give him a pass. He's fucking Earl Thomas. Like, I'm famous.
He was famous in Seattle, not so much in Baltimore.
He's still famous. He's still Earl Thomas.
He is famous, I guess. But
Earl Thomas is going to be a Hall of Famer.
Is he?
I think so.
I mean,
He'd be a Hall of Fame safety for sure.
He is definitely comparable to Ed Reed, and I do believe Ed Reed is a Hall of Famer. I don't know if he ever has been elected into it officially or not, but Ed Reed is.
He was inducted last season.
Yes, that's right. So
I don't compare Earl Thomas to Ed Reed. I like to compare Earl Thomas to Steve Atwater.
Okay, yeah, that's a real good comparison.
Like just nose to the grindstone. I'm gonna go get it.
But all right, man. So let's go ahead and move on here.
Man, we have our first sporting event since coronavirus.
Sports are back.
Oh my God, I am so excited for this. UFC 249 Saturday night, Ferguson versus Gaethje, and then Henry Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz for the champions for the bantamweight title. Man, what a way to come back with a title fight. I've got Cejudo and I have got Ferguson winning those fights. It doesn't matter. It's gonna be on pay-per-view and it's gonna be amazing. I'll pay whether I don't. You know, they could charge $200 right now for this fight on Sunday or Saturday night, and I would pay it.
Because sports haven't been around, or just because you like UFC that much.
Well, I love UFC, but I would pay $200 just because sports hasn't been around, and I'm itching for some kind of competitive sport.
Yeah, I mean, UFC is in a perfect market to gain so many fans since they, since Rampage Jackson was really around. Like I think that's when UFC really took off. Boof, a guy know that's when I started watching heavily into UFC with Rampage Jackson, and then Conor McGregor kind of took over the
Conor McGregor really elevated the UFC.
Right, and so I mean, this is a perfect time for UFC to elevate even more since there is no NFL, there's no baseball, there's no playoff basketball, there's no hockey. UFC is it. WWE and UFC is the only thing that's going to be happening Saturday.
Yeah, I don't care to watch fake wrestling. Jameson.
Saturday, son.
Saturday night. Going down. Oh, man. And you know, even if you don't order the fight, you'll still be able to watch the prelims on ESPN. So, everybody tune in. It's competitive sports. We're back at it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and me being a passive UFC fan, like I don't eat and breathe it like obviously Mike does here, but I like watching those prelim fights because it's usually people that you've never heard of, but they have 20 to 30 fights under their belt, like over in Europe or Germany or wherever they're normally from, and these guys are top of the game, and like it is kind of like watching a college football player. Like, hey, this guy is going to be something in 3 or 4 years, or maybe even like the next fight. So definitely check out the prelims on ESPN. I'm going to be tuning in simply because I have not got a competitive nature out of anything for since spring training baseball, maybe. Shoot, but. Speaking of spring training and stuff like that, we're going to take our first commercial break here, so I don't miss it tonight. I'm not going to miss it tonight. I promised people over at rtfsportsnetwork.com that I would not miss it tonight. So with that being said, guys, we are going to take a quick break, and then once we get back, we are going to talk some NFL football. Oh, come on, work.
Roll to the commercial.
There he goes. And I clearly pushed the wrong jingle there because we are back. We're not going to be back Sunday. We're back right now. So, Mike, earlier tonight, there has been a 3-hour special going on right now as we're recording this show. The NFL schedule has come out. Teams have already started saying, hey, we're going 11-5. I believe you texted me earlier, said the Cowboys are going to go 11-5. We're going to break down the Dallas Cowboys schedule Sunday night. So starting next week, Sunday night, we will be breaking down every NFL team, all 32 teams, giving us a win-loss record. I will have an Excel sheet up. So make sure we don't overlap saying, oh, the like obviously you like you can't have everybody go in the NFL go 10-6. So I'll have an Excel sheet up. Make sure we don't overlap wins and losses and like that kind of effect. So starting Sunday night, 9:30, right here on the Facebook page and YouTube, we'll start breaking down the Dallas Cowboys. So I gotta want to give too much away, but me and Mike pre-show here, guys. Also starting next week, if you are a part of our Patreon page, we are going to start recording our pre-show planning and bantering back and forth. Get to know us a little better. All you have to do is support the show. Give us $1 like a month, $5 a month, whatever you think feel fit. You get access to all those files. So me and Mike have pointed out 10 games that we think are going to be marquee games throughout the season. And the first game that come to mind when the schedule came out was the Week 3 matchup, Kansas City versus Baltimore. The reason why I said this is going to be the game of the year is because you have two former MVPs going at it early in the season. And people are already saying this is an AFC championship game already in the making. So why not preview it? But Mike, I think you are on the latter side of this thing. Why don't you think this is the game of the year?
I don't think it's a game of the year because it's Week 3. Off season is kind of gonna be cut short, right? People aren't in OTAs and mini camps and things like that, right? Like normal.
Right.
I think teams are gonna get off to a slow start just because football is gonna be training camp's gonna be a little delayed and everything. So I think they're just gonna start getting to fill each other or fill their team out. But it's going to shape up to be a great matchup. I mean, it's Kansas City against Baltimore, so it's Patty Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson. So whenever you get those two against, I think those two quarterbacks are the best right now in football, are the most exciting to watch, shall we say? But I don't think it's going to be the game of the season. I don't think we start seeing those games of the season till week 7, week 8, week 9, so on and so forth later in the season.
And just to add to your point there, I think this is the reason why that is going to be the game of the year, because this Week 3, I think, is when everything starts to click in for everybody. Preseason is going to be horrible. Preseason always sucks. I hate preseason. Yes, it's football, but I hate preseason. 4 games, waste of time. Whatever. Week 1 and Week 2 are going to be really rough around the edges. You are going to see a lot of upsets because like a lot of low scoring games and a lot of upsets because offenses just aren't clicking yet because they haven't had that OTA and off season work. I think Week 3 is when you really start to see the Kansas City Chiefs offense become the offense that we know, and the Baltimore Ravens, they are going to be electric because Lamar Jackson is electric on his feet.
So do you think, with that being said, do you think that they utilize preseason a little bit more with starters than they've normally done in the past?
In theory, yes, but as a smart player, a smart coach, smart GM, you cannot risk injury whatsoever. What happens if you have Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes playing 2 or 3 full preseason games? You are looking now at a 19-game season on their body. So by week 10, week 11, they are going to be more suspect to injury.
You might as well get used to it. I mean, 2021 season, they've extended the games.
They extended the game to a 17-game season, but didn't they also take off a preseason game as well?
Yes, they did.
So you're still playing the same number of games technically.
No, I mean, during the preseason, week 3 of preseason, you see Patty Mahomes maybe 1 series? 2 series?
Usually week 3 of preseason, you see people that are right there on the cusp of making the roster. You probably see him the first quarter. Depending on how he looks, you don't see him at all for the rest of the game. Definitely don't see him game 4 by any means.
See, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, August can't come soon enough. I'm going to be flat out honest.
Couple more months, man.
Hall of Fame game, whatever. I can't wait. So the next and most intriguing game to me that I saw was Week 1, Bucks versus Saints. I'm going to reiterate what I just said. I think week 1 and week 2 are going to be bad for offenses. However, you have 2 veteran quarterbacks going head to head. They don't need OTAs. They don't need preseason. You put these 2 quarterbacks on the field right now, going to have a great game. Bucks versus Saints, definitely going to be a game to watch.
Who do you think wins?
I don't know where the game is at. It is at Tampa Bay. Actually, I got to go with what I said earlier. I think Saints are going to sweep that division, so the Saints win.
I think the Saints win too, and I think
the Bucks are trying to find their groove just a little bit.
I think Tom Brady falls flat first game
because of the new structure of the team, the new offense, or just because Saints are that much better.
A little of both. I don't think. I mean, Tom Brady's not in his system, right? And like I've said in past shows, Tom Brady is a system quarterback.
Yeah, you are 100% correct. So, guys, before we get on to the next game, I'm going to post a link in the chat. If you are interested in jumping onto the show, bantering us with a little bit, simply all you have to do is click that link, and and I will add you to the stream. If you come on with dead air with a bunch of nonsense crap, you're out of here. See you later, alligator, as my mom would always say. So next up, the most intriguing game of the 2020 season, I think it's got to be the Cardinals versus 49ers. You have Kyler Murray versus Jimmy G. This game, I think, might decide the division. What are your thoughts, Mike?
I don't think it's going to decide the division. I think the division will already be decided. I think the 49ers will have that division hands down. But it is going to be interesting because I don't think it's going to be so much Jimmy G versus Kyler Murray as much as it's going to be Kyler Murray versus that 49ers defense.
Yeah.
That 49ers defense, they're monsters.
You are 100% correct. Probably hands down the best. Man on there, and that was kind of weird. What was that all about?
Yeah,
but
there for a minute.
What's that?
I lost you there for a minute.
Yeah, our screen kind of rebooted there for a second. But let me reiterate: I do not think the Arizona Cardinals are going to win this division if they win this game. When I say this is the division deciding game, it is because the 49ers must win this game to win the division. It is going to be between them and Seattle. So this is why the Week 16 matchup is so intriguing to me, is because 49ers do travel to Arizona, and they are historically play not very good at Arizona.
So the Cardinals could play devil's advocate there, huh? You're saying that the Cardinals could play the what's the word I'm looking for? Son of a bitch.
Spoiler, maybe?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You go.
It just
for that division, huh?
Yeah, I think the Cardinals will decide the outcome of this division because they will beat the 49ers in Week 16. I'm putting that out there right now.
That's a pretty bold statement, my friend.
Bold but true.
Moving
on here.
Okay.
Week 13. You have this game circled on your calendar in bright pink highlight. Dallas Cowboys versus Baltimore Ravens.
I do. I'm
saying Andy Dalton versus Lamar Jackson.
I'm saying Andy Dalton versus Lamar Jackson too. I think week 5, week 6, Dak Prescott gets pulled if he starts. With that many weapons that Dak has around him, there is no question in my mind that this Cowboys offense and this Cowboys team should be able to win minimum 10 games. So I have this circled on my calendar because I really want to see what the Cowboys are going to do, that Cowboys defense is going to do against a high-powered offense like Lamar Jackson. If the Cowboys can pull this game off, right? I think it shows playoff implications, and I think it shows that the Cowboys are built for a deep run in the playoffs. Because I know you like your Kansas City Chiefs, but like we talked in the shows earlier, I think it's going to come down to Baltimore and Kansas City in the AFC Championship game. So, in my opinion, Baltimore is a Super Bowl contender. It's a toss-up between the Chiefs and Baltimore. But if Cowboys can go to Baltimore and handle the Ravens soundly in their home, I think Cowboys have a really good chance of going deep into the playoffs, if not into the NFC Championship.
So let me add to your points here. Dallas Cowboys have had the team to make a deep playoff run for the last three or four years. Ever since Dak has taken the helm at quarterback, the Cowboys have been built to make a deep run into the playoffs, but they consistently fall short or don't make the playoffs. It's simple as that. Yeah. This game for the Dallas Cowboys, this is almost like the make or break point of their season. If they win this game, I think I'm going to jump on that bandwagon with you, Mike, and say the Dallas Cowboys make a deep run into the playoffs. I'm talking NFC Championship game. If they lose this game to the Baltimore Ravens, they miss the playoffs. I'm putting that much pressure on this game that Dallas Cowboys, if they win, NFC Championship. If they lose, they miss the playoffs. This game right here is a difference between an 8-8 season or a 10-6 season, or even 11-5 season, like you have already told me that you think they're going to do.
I mean, I think if they get off to a slow start and the Cowboys lose at home at week 5 to the Giants, and we have a losing record by that time, I think that's when they're going to pull Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I have not looked at I haven't looked at really any team schedule in depth by any means, but I do know the Dallas Cowboys open up with the LA Rams this year, right? They do not have that first easy win of the season anymore versus the New York Giants.
No.
This is awesome for Andy Dalton and the Dallas Cowboys.
No, it is, because our first 3 games, right? These are our first 3 games against contenders, or at least playoff teams. If
they go 0-3 or 1-3 in their first 4, Dak Prescott is pulled 100%.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton is like in there. That couldn't be better for Dallas Cowboys fans, period.
Well, the first 3 games, Chargers, Falcons, Seahawks.
I'm going to say 1-3, or sorry, 1-2. They beat the Falcons because I think the Falcons just they just don't. The Falcons are a habitual team that they're just good enough that they'll never get a first overall pick, but they're not good enough to get over that hump. Ever since they blew that lead in the Super Bowl, they really haven't done a whole lot. A bunch of 6 win seasons, and quite frankly, I see that happening just like as well. So I easily see 1-2 easily.
Let's go on to the next one, because we're gonna break this down Sunday night, and I think we're already getting into some of that content.
Right. So another big game, another must-circle game, Week 11, Tennessee Titans versus the Baltimore Ravens, a rematch of the playoffs last year.
Yeah. I still got Baltimore winning this game. I don't think Tennessee still has what it takes to get over that hump yet. I got Baltimore in this game.
You know, wasn't this about the time when Tennessee hit their stride last season? Was about Week 11, Week 12, when they finally put Tannehill in as a starting quarterback, and they found their groove with that running game and the dink and dunk game.
Yeah, I think it was about this time, but I just don't think Tannehill is. I don't think Tannehill is that guy yet.
I don't think Ryan Tannehill is that guy. Period. In Tennessee, but Mike Vrabel, their coach, can get the best out of Tannehill and get the best out of that team. He has some type of player coach mentality. Like, I don't know what you want to call it, but he definitely gets the best out of people. This Week 11 is everything for Baltimore, not a whole lot for Tennessee. Tennessee knows they just got to make it to the playoffs. It showed them last year. They sneak into the playoffs, they will make some noise. Baltimore, they want revenge. They got revenge on their mind. They're like, you guys beat us in the playoffs, whatever. It was a fluke, yada, yada, yada. We're going to go out there and stomp them. I think Baltimore stomps them, but it is a kind of a ego boost for Tennessee that's like, hey, Baltimore really has to step up and like play us. Look out for Tennessee again after this week 11 game, moving on week 12 through 17. They might go undefeated, to be totally honest, moving forward.
You think Baltimore goes undefeated?
No. I think Tennessee loses week 11, and then they go undefeated from week 12 to week 17.
Could be.
So they win their final five games or whatever.
I can't say that without looking at the schedule, but I mean it's a very well possibility they could.
Yeah. So the next intriguing game here, a rematch of Super Bowl 53, I do believe, Week 14, New England Patriots versus the Rams. A lot of people think this is the game to watch. You know, that this could be like another Super Bowl matchup. What do you think?
Just like our pre-show banter, I have to agree with you. This is kind of like, you know, the Pats passing the torch.
Yeah, I don't think New England is going to do a lot this year. We're going to find out week 1 what they really have. I forget who they play. I think they played Miami week 1. I think it is. So it's Tua versus the Patriots. Basically, what it comes down to. The reason why this is intriguing for me is because I think I want to go on a theme of a show here. This is the make or break point for the Rams season. They're going to kind of be teetering off and on. You know, they might be plus 2 games in the win column versus the loss column here. If they lose to the Patriots, I think they miss the playoffs. If they beat the Patriots, I could see them going to the NFC Championship game.
I don't think the Rams go into the NFC Championship game.
Because they lose to the New England Patriots week 14, right?
No, not because they lose. Even if they win, I don't see them going to the NFC Championship. I mean, you've got Seattle, you got Seattle, the 49ers, potentially the Dallas Cowboys, the Packers. I don't think the Rams are that team anymore.
Is the NFC the most loaded you've seen it in a long time?
I think so.
Because
I think it is. Because you have to think, like the past couple years, the AFC has been really loaded.
Right.
But this year, I think with draft and free agency and everything like that, I think this is the most loaded I've seen the NFC in a while.
Because if you really break it down, I think the AFC, you can kind of pretty much narrow it down to 2 teams, Baltimore and Kansas City.
Yeah.
You can maybe slide Houston in there if they get hot at the right time. But, you know,
you can't slide Houston in there. They got rid of Hopkins. They have no on the outside.
True. But they still have Stills and Cobb, and did they draft a receiver like as well, if I'm not mistaken. If you jump over to the NFC side, you could probably rattle off 5 teams that legitimately have Super Bowl implications. The 49ers, the Seahawks, the Packers even, the Cowboys, the Rams. I got to put the Rams in there because they were playoff bound just a couple years ago, and the only thing different from that team is a running back.
Yeah, you got to throw the Eagles in there too.
Right. Even though they won't make it out of the division, but whatever. We digress on that. The next team, or the next game up, week 15, you had the 49ers versus the Dallas Cowboys. Hello, 1997 just called. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think this, if the Cowboys are who everybody thinks the Cowboys are going to be, I think this is
we are who they think we are.
I think this is a preview of the NFC Championship game.
I could see that. I could see that, but I don't. The problem with the San Francisco 49ers is that, let's be honest, the Kansas City Chiefs wrote a recipe of how to beat the 49ers. Make them pass the ball. There are defenses in the NFC that can make the 49ers pass the ball. You have the Seahawks defense. You have the Dallas Cowboys front seven, quite arguably the third or fourth best in the NFL.
Well, I mean, if you look at their linebacking core, I mean, that's arguably their linebacking core is easily top 5 in the league.
Right. So, but I'm saying how you beat the San Francisco 49ers, make them one-dimensional. If you cannot stop the running game, let Kyle Shanahan get bored. He is a young coach. He gets bored. He gets tired of running the ball. He wants to throw the ball deep. And that's when Jimmy G throws interceptions, and that's how you beat the 49ers. I don't think the 49ers make it out of the first round of the playoffs this year because of how they lost the Super Bowl. I think there is some fact saying that was like 80% of teams that lose a Super Bowl don't even make the playoffs the following year. And in recent memory, that has been true. The Falcons never made it. The Rams never made it like the next year.
The Niners defense is too good for them not to make the playoffs.
As they do say, defense wins championship games, but you also have to score points. You cannot. The San Francisco 49ers are going to use the same formula that they used last year during the playoffs. We want to run the ball 80% of the time, hold the opposing offenses to 5 or 6 drives a game. We know that our defense is badass, and like they can stop those 5 out of the 6 drives. So we have to score twice. That's it. And I don't think that is going to be the recipe this year. They're going to have to put points up on the board, and I don't think Jimmy G and that offense can.
Well, Jameson is a 49ers fan. Jameson, what do you think?
Yeah, Jameson, if you want to jump on here, man, go ahead and click on that link, and we can talk 49ers all you want. Because the more I think about it, I have not looked at their schedule. I do think the Seahawks are going to win that division, and I don't think the 49ers are going to make the playoffs. I think this Week 15 game knocks them out of the playoffs.
It could. I mean, I don't know. I still think this is a matchup of the NFC Championship.
I mean, it is a very good possibility because the 49ers, the only person that they lost was the wide receiver, if I'm not correct, or if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Good.
And they traded him to the Eagles. Was it the Eagles they traded him to?
Yep.
I don't remember. But regardless, this is going to be a game to watch. So what's that comment down there? I'm watching Sonic. Watching Sonic the Hedgehog. That a boy. So let's go ahead and move on to Week 17. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns. Thoughts?
I think this is going to be a really good matchup. But I think this is a passing of the torch. Even though Baltimore Ravens are in this division, I think this is a passing of the torch of second place in that division from Pittsburgh to Browns. I really see the Browns improving this year. I think what's his damn? Why do I always forget his fucking name?
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I think we see Baker Mayfield really kind of mature a little this season, and really kind of taking control of that team and being the leader that he was in Oklahoma. And I think over the next couple of years we'll start to see the Browns really challenge Baltimore. But for this season, I think they come in second place in that division, and it's a passing of a torch, putting the Pittsburgh Steelers further down, because I think Roethlisberger is at the end of his career.
Yeah, he may even play this year. I saw him on Twitter and stuff. He's contemplating retirement now. But
I don't even know if he comes back this season.
Right. Or if he's even healthy, because he has, many quarterbacks have had season career-ending shoulder injury like what he had this past season. But I would agree with everything that you said about the Cleveland Browns if they did not pick up Case Keenum. Case Keenum is going to be the ultimate demise of the Cleveland Browns in the 2020 season. Let me tell you why. Baker Mayfield is now looking over his shoulder. He is thinking that Case Keenum is here to replace me. He is here to take my starting job, take my team, and you can kind of already tell because of some of the stuff he's been tweeting and stuff like that.
And that's why I say we see Baker Mayfield really kind of make that leap and mature and really take leadership and take hold of that team like this is my team.
Yeah, I would give you that if he didn't have such a demise. Like, if this was any other team besides the Cleveland Browns, I would be on board with you 100%. The Cleveland Browns always finds new ways to lose the game. I said this on a different show earlier tonight. I believe it was Cincinnati versus the Browns. They play like the second to last, like week 16, like I think it is. I said that this game is going to end up in a 3-2 tie. Myles Garrett gets a sack on Joe Burrow in the end zone. Cincinnati drives down the field. The Browns block the field goal, but it bounces off Myles Garrett's helmet and it goes in through the uprights. The Browns always find new ways to lose. This is the reason why they will not be second place in this division, because they will not beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't care who is quarterback at Pittsburgh Steelers. It is something like when you play an arch rival that consistently beats you year in and year out. The Pittsburgh Steelers just have that mental advantage over the Cleveland Browns, especially week 17. Wasn't it just last year that Odell Beckham Jr. didn't even show up for the week 17? No, that was the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sorry. Antonio Brown didn't show up for the week 17 game, and they still almost won that game. So Cleveland Browns are going to get last in this division. Cincinnati Bengals get second in this division. There is a different game, Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh. I believe is week 15. That's the passing of the torch.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cincinnati handles the Pittsburgh Steelers that game, and I think Joe Burrow like really has a coming out party against a big team, and I think that's going to be against Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. Either way, I'm going to tune into this game because this is probably going to have wild card implications.
No, 100%. I'm getting an NFL Sunday ticket just so I can watch the evolution of Joe Burrow. So as this season goes on, I can just give you shit all season long. Hey, what about Joe Burrow?
You know what I could do? I could FaceTime you because I get every freaking Cincinnati game because of where I live, and I know I'm going to get even more now because of Joe effing Burrow. But let's go ahead and move on. The most intriguing, or the next most intriguing game that I saw on the schedule, Week 9, flashback to 1990s again. Green Bay versus San Francisco. Thoughts?
Ooh, that's hard because no matter what team Aaron Rodgers is playing, and no matter who he has around him, you can never, ever fucking count Aaron Rodgers out. Right? I go back to the games he played against the Cowboys over the past years. Like, the Cowboys had them, it was like, 40-something seconds, and he throws a pass downfield to their tight end, and they end up going on to win the game. You can never count out Aaron Rodgers ever. So I'm looking forward to this game, especially against that San Francisco defense. Because what if Aaron Rodgers goes in and wins in the final seconds of this game against the San Francisco defense, which they are claiming this is one of the best defenses that we've seen in the past decade, right? What are you going to say then about Aaron Rodgers? Is he so much of a diva at that point? Do you really go out and start getting weapons to surround Aaron Rodgers with? Or is that the straw that breaks the camel's back for Aaron Rodgers and says, look what I do. This is what I do. And you can't help me. So you know what? This is my last season. I'm out.
So before I get into my thoughts of this game, let me go ahead and bring up this comment. San Francisco will crush Green Bay. The last 2 times they played, San Francisco dominated. 100% correct. 100% correct, James. And San Francisco has dominated Green Bay.
Isn't James the Hedgehog?
What's that? he was, but he heard 49ers and what I'm about to say here, because let me tell you something. The NFC Championship game was a fluke. The previous game the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers played was a fluke. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have any weapons around him. We get that. Week 7, week 6, Green Bay Packers are going to realize this. We have a championship caliber team because we have the greatest quarterback in the NFL right now, Aaron freaking Rodgers. They are going to go out on the market. They're going to pick up Antonio Brown. They're going to trade for another big name receiver. Pick one off the Kansas City Chiefs. Byron Pringle, Harmon, Watkins. It doesn't matter.
Des Bryant.
Des Bryant. Oh, holy crap. Antonio Brown and Dez Bryant on the same team with Aaron freaking Rodgers, plus that running game, yes, that would be matches made in heaven. I think Antonio Brown and Dez Bryant will sue those egos aside and realize, hey, we can win a Super Bowl. San Francisco 49ers, they will miss the playoffs in 2020, not because of the Arizona game. Yes, that would be a division siding game, which will ultimately knock them out of the playoffs. But this Week 9 game will kill the momentum that San Francisco even had, because they will probably be going into Week 9. They'll probably be 5-3 or something, kind of riding high. Green Bay punches them in the mouth so hard they lose the next 4 games in a row.
I agree. Jameson, AB is not going to Baltimore. Harbaugh is not having any part of AB. I promise you.
Let me tell you, the reason why AB is not going to Baltimore is because I don't think AB can put his ego aside for a young quarterback. A proven quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, he can probably put his ego aside. That's why he didn't last in Oakland, because he thought he was the man. He was bigger than the team. The reason why he didn't last in New England, the same thing. He thought he was better than the team, and of course all the trainer sexual harassment stuff that he had. But that's besides the point. He has spent a year out of the league trying to do a rap career, which is trash. Have you heard his raps?
Yes, it's horrible.
My wife that listens to country music can rap better than he can.
I think Gotti is better than Antonio Brown.
But I'm telling you, if Dez Bryant and Antonio Brown are on the market still come Week 5 or Week 6, Green Bay, they can be 500, but they show in sign. You can be 0-5, but you still have the signs of like, hey, we're one player away. You know?
Yeah, of course, because you know what? They can sign both AB and Dez to prove it contracts and get them for a couple million each.
And they have the running game still. So San Francisco gets their dick stomped in the dirt in this game. Packers, I'm going to go 45-9 is going to be the final score. They're going to lay it on them hard. Moving on. Probably so we've given you pretty much my most top 9 intriguing games of the season. This is going to be number 10. Week number 1, Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots. Why am I bringing this game up? Not because of Tua, not because the Patriots don't have Tom Brady. I think this Week 1 game right here decides the division. I know people are riding high on the Buffalo Bills, 11-5, 10-6, whatever. 8-8 on Buffalo Bills. Miami Dolphins, they have rebuilt that team. They had 4 first-round picks, 3 first-round picks. They're built to win right now.
Yep.
They're going to beat the Patriots Week 1, and ultimately this gives them the division. Moving on.
Yeah, 28-14. Miami wins.
So, does Tua start Week 1? I got to ask you that. Yeah.
Tua starts Week 1. You don't draft a quarterback that high for them to sit on the bench for a year. Sorry, you don't. You don't. Name a quarterback that has been drafted number 1 overall and did not start Week 1.
Rosen.
Josh Rosen. Okay.
On the Miami roster.
Okay. Besides Rosen, anybody else?
No other quarterback drafted in the top 5 comes to mind by any means. I guess you can say Daniel Jones. I don't know where he was drafted. I think he was in the top 10, wasn't he? He ultimately.
But, I mean, we all knew that Eli was at the end of his career. He was done. And Daniel Jones took over for Eli Manning.
So let's go ahead and jump back to Green Bay a little bit here. Jameson, our friend over here, our best friend, thinks that AJ Green could be traded to Green Bay as well. That even makes Green Bay Packers even more dangerous because Dez did tear his Achilles when he played with the Saints and hasn't played for at least a year and a half or something to that effect. Antonio Brown hasn't played for a full year. And yes, AJ Green did miss 10 games last year, like 11 games, but he is still in probably football shape and even more hungry than he was.
Oh, Des Bryant, AB, and AJ. All three of those receivers are in football shape. All of them.
Obviously, I don't think the Packers get all three because they don't need all three.
No, but I do think they get AB and they get Dez.
See, I'm not sold on Dez. There is a reason why he is not in the league right now. Yes, I know he tore his Achilles when he signed at the Saints, but he was in football shape. That's why he tore his Achilles, from what they said. But there is a reason why the Dallas Cowboys let him go at his prime. Or quote prime.
It's his ego. But a couple years out of football will quiet that ego.
Or does it make it that much bigger because teams are wanting you because you haven't been in football for 2 years?
I think he takes a team-friendly deal. I think he takes a more team-friendly deal over AJ or AB.
I don't think AJ Green breaks the bank because he wants out of Cincinnati. I don't know what his contract looks like. I think he has maybe a year left or something like that.
Do you think now that they have Joe Burrow that AJ wants out of Cincinnati?
That is tough because we have to judge it off of preseason. What does Joe Burrow look like in preseason, or what does Joe Burrow look like in minicamp? With the whole COVID-19 thing happening, we're not seeing OTA workouts. Like, we're not seeing how Joe Burrow is picking up and progressing into a professional athlete. If we could say that, I could legitimately say, yes, he wants to stay in Cincinnati. No, he doesn't. But I think AJ Green's been in the league for 9 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
At some point, you start to ring chase. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no. When you're that kind of receiver, because let's be honest, you put AJ Green on Green Bay, you put AJ Green with Tom Brady or Drew Brees, like you start putting him with good quarterbacks. Yeah, you start ring chasing at that point. I mean, he's done everything else. He's got the money. He's been paid the big deals and everything like that. At this point in his career, like, I want to go to another team because I want to win a Super Bowl at this point.
Yeah. So, I mean, because he has spent the better half of his prime in a subpar performing team. He is entering his 10th season. He's 31 years old here. So hypothetically, from football standards, he is old. Let's be honest. 31 years old. He is old. He has 2-3 years left in.
Yep, exactly.
So
2 years left.
At this point, he is going to go to a contender. He wants to go to a contender. He wants to go to Green Bay. He wants to go to Dallas. He wants to go to the Chiefs. He wants to go to the 49ers. Like, anywhere but Cincinnati. Because can you legitimately say that the Cincinnati Bengals, as constructed right now with AJ on the green and T Higgins and Joe Burrow, they are a playoff-bound team?
Yes.
You think they're a playoff-bound team this year?
Yes.
And I totally disagree with that. I think they're a 5-win, 6-win team still.
No way, bro. No way. Joe Burrow is a way better quarterback than Andy Dalton.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at Andy Dalton's first 5 seasons. He was 9+ wins those first 5 seasons with nobody around him.
Dude, man, I'm telling you, just watching Joe Burrow in college this past year, his footwork, his pocket presence, his pocket awareness, and his touch passes downfield. I'm telling you, man, Joe Burrow is a special talent. I'm telling you right now.
You know, people said the same thing about Ryan Leaf coming out of college. His pocket presence, his arm strength. It is a different animal from college to the NFL. It is a different animal from high school to college. Some people just aren't cut out for it. I'm not saying Joe Burrow is going to be a bust. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's going to be the best quarterback ever, though, either. I think he elevates the Cincinnati Bengals to the 2nd seed in their division but still going to go 7-9, 8-8. There's no way they're playoff bound this year. They have to pay the dues.
No, I mean, it's just like Jameson just said, man. They've got Tyler Boyd, John Ross, T. Higgins, and AJ Green. There's a lot of talent surrounding Joe Burrow.
You have a lot of skill player talent. You don't have anybody to protect his ass.
I think they I want to say they got some people in free agency on that offensive line to beef it up a little bit, and in the draft. I'm telling you, man, Cincinnati is going to be tough to deal with this season.
They are going to be tough to deal with because of the talent that they have. Pure talent will keep them in a lot of ball games. They're going to be bit by the Cleveland Brown bugs. They're just not ready to win yet. Just like, because we've all been watching The Last Dance. If you haven't been watching The Last Dance, you need to watch it. The first 6 episodes are amazing. The Bulls did not win in 89, 90, or 91 because they just weren't poised to win yet. They didn't know how to win the game. That is why the 49ers did not win the Super Bowl this year, because they weren't ready to win. They don't know how to win. That is why the Kansas City Chiefs lost the AFC Championship game in 2018, because they weren't ready to win yet. The Cincinnati will be much improved. Don't get me wrong. They will be much improved, but they are not ready to take that step into the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, it is because everybody else in that division pissed it away.
We'll see, man.
We will see, because the NFL season does start September 10th with my Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Houston Texans at Arrowhead. My sister is in town right now and trying to convince her to give me some tickets. So they do live up in KC still, so hopefully we can get some tickets to that game. That would be awesome. Nothing like being at Arrowhead on a primetime game. The loudest stadium ever. So, guys, as always,
you need to make your way down here, and we'll go to a Cowboys game, and then you'll be able to see how loud a stadium really gets.
You want to know a really loud stadium that's like calmly loud? Indianapolis Colts. I went and watched the Indianapolis Colts take on the Dallas Cowboys, not last year, but the year before that. That Lucas Oil Stadium just has a rumbling, loud noise. It is consistently loud in there.
I tell you what. We'll get tickets. We'll go to a Chiefs game at Arrowhead, and then we'll get tickets and we'll go to a Cowboys game.
I would love to see a Cowboys game if we can get tickets to a Green Bay Packers game as well, because it make my wife happy. That would be awesome.
Go to Lambeau. So that's on my bucket list. Like, I have to go. I don't care who it is. I want to go see a football game in Lambeau Stadium just because of the history of Lambeau Stadium.
My uncle lives up there. I will shoot him a text. He knows some people. Maybe they're willing to part to some tickets to maybe like a Chicago Bear game or something to that effect. Because let's be honest, that's game going to be boring to watch because the Bears going to suck. But
Jameson, the Cowboys Stadium is massive and it's fucking majestic. Walking up, it is majestic. It's the stuff that dreams are made out of.
Speaking of majestic, do you know what they call a flock of birds?
What?
Majestic jizz.
I knew you were gonna come with something.
True story. Look it up, guys. If you do not believe me, look it up. Majestic jizz flying through the air. But guys, on that note, this is Just for Clicks, guys. As always, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, share us with a couple friends. If you'd like to know us a little better, we have some pre-show banter that me and Mike discuss and just talk about life in general. Go to our Patreon page. I'll post it up on Facebook starting next week. Donate to that. You guys get to see us behind the scenes. So, guys, as always, have a great day. We'll see you Sunday night right here on Facebook and YouTube. Always listen to us Monday through Friday on rtsportsnetwork.com on the noon edition, East Coast time. So, have a good night and go Chiefs.
Deuces, go Cowboys, and we'll see y'all on the other side. Bye.
Yeah. Sunday.